On today's episode of Lawyers with Game, go behind the scenes of professional sports with David Cohen of Infinite Athlete. Please join us. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Lawyers with Game. I'm your host, Darius Gambino. I'm an intellectual property attorney with over 25 years of experience advising clients on issues related to patents, trademarks, and copyrights. I'm also a lifelong gamer. I've been playing video games since they were in the arcades, and I've played on just about every system, from the original ColecoVision to the Sega Genesis to now the PlayStation 5. I'm with the law firm of Saul, Ewing in Philadelphia, and you can find me on the PlayStation Network under gamertag EaglesFan71. With me today is David Cohen, or DC, from Infinite Athlete. Really happy to have you on the show today, David.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Darius.
Absolutely. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe so that we can continue making them. And keep in mind that this discussion is intended to be a very casual and general discussion of legal issues. It is not intended as actual legal advice. If you need actual legal advice, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you. So today we're going to be talking about Infinite Athlete and some of the things that they're doing to improve athletic performance. So David, before we get into all that, I wanted to ask you about your work history and your career. I know you've worked for a lot of different sports teams and a lot of different leagues, the Baltimore Orioles, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Can you talk a little bit about your history with the sports world and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, I've been in the sports world for over 30 years in one role or the other. I actually started out as an athletic trainer, so I was the person you'd see on the field taking care of the players when they got hurt, doing everything from emergency management and rehab to prevention, strength conditioning, you name it, I did it. I had 9 years doing that in minor league baseball, 2 with the Baltimore Orioles, 5 with the Montreal Expos, and then while I was in law school, I did 2 years with the Boston Red Sox. I then transitioned to a front office role with it started out with the Anaheim Angels, but after a year, they became the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and stayed there for another 9 years before moving to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a little over 5, and then a year with a startup football league and technology company called the Alliance of American Football that we helped launch. And from there, after that collapsed, I went to my current company, which is now called Infinite Athlete. But a lot of different roles, a lot of different places. Built the legal function with the Angels, rebuilt it with the Bucks. Was the head of player operations with the Alliance, and oversaw pretty much all the off-field matters for the players, health, wellness, career development, and then obviously working for a startup as employee number 7 with Infinite Athlete. I built the legal function and a lot of other functions from the ground up. So I'm a builder.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And you have a deep history with the sports world. So I want to talk about Infinite Athlete a little bit. I understand it basically has 2 divisions or 2 parts. One of them is real time monitoring of athletic performance, and the other piece of it has to do with helping to avoid injuries using the data that you collect. Can you talk about the 2 pieces of it and how you're working with sports teams and others to help basically improve athletic performance and avoid injury?
Yeah, well, it really starts with what are we gathering? And we are one of the only companies that really has access to the entire NFL tech stack. So we gather everything that's training on the field in a sporting event. So if you think about it, you got all the broadcast cameras, you've got the game clock, you got the play clock, you've got all the different data feeds that are generated, plus all the players, the officials, and the ball all have RFID chips. So we get XYZ positioning for everything on the field. We then ingest that to our proprietary fusion feed system. We aggregate it, synchronize it, and turn it into a unified data feed that's usable. The our first product was for the NFL. It's called Game Operations Dashboard, where all the folks in New York and elsewhere can basically watch a game from different angles, see changes over time, annotate it, share clips and such, all in one place. Any game, anytime, live with minimal lag. That's part of it. Is you can do a lot of this stuff, but there's always a lag to it. We were able to get the lag to a very, very short period of time, which made it very, very usable and very, very helpful to the NFL. Um, a couple years after we started the company, we found the biggest use of our of data was a company called Biocore, or Biomechanics Consulting and Research, which was a group of biomechanical PhDs out of Charlottesville, Virginia, and they, interestingly enough, started out doing car crash tests and realized that there may be some applicability in other places. So they began working and doing sports testing, and then really developed a good relationship with the NFL, and they do all of the uh, injury analysis. They also do a lot of helmet testing, shoulder pad testing, cleat and field testing, and provide a lot of good information to help make the game safer. If you go to any NFL locker room, you'll see year after year they've got this up to date poster of the best to the worst helmets and how they perform. And you could see, it's interesting if you look at them over time, how it was the best in one year, slowly as technology improved, moves down the ladder. So that's all information that the players can use to get the best equipment to help keep themselves safe, and it's always available to them. And we pride ourselves on really being at the forefront of trying to make the game safer. So we're the ones that generate that, and we're the ones that make it available. If it wasn't for our group in Charlottesville, that wouldn't be there. But as the biggest user of our data, it just made sense that the two of us would combine forces. So um, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's lots of other things that we've been working with teams in other leagues, different sort of video analysis and pose analysis and such, and really it's all about making the game safer, preventing injuries, understanding injuries, and improving performance. So players can perform better and not get hurt nearly as often.
So are you working primarily with the NFL on some of these initiatives, or are you working with some of the other major pro leagues in the U.S.?
Primarily, we work with the NFL at this point. We do have a relationship with Chelsea in the English Premier League. We've worked with them for the last couple of years. We work with some teams in some other leagues as well. The beauty of our technology is it's sport agnostic. We can apply it anywhere, and really from the data perspective, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it could be baseball or football or hockey or cricket. I mean, we tested it in a lot of different settings just to see where it would work. It works in basketball. It works in, I mean, you name it. We can make it work. From an injury perspective, injuries are injuries. I mean, obviously, in some sports there is a little bit a different nature of injuries. Football being not just a contact sport, but a collision sport. You see one kind of injury, or some kinds of injuries. I mean, you see a little bit of everything, but it's very, very different than you would see in a basketball or a baseball, where you see very, very different sorts of injuries as far as like upper body, lower body, body part, and such. I mean, granted, you could see a concussion in baseball, but you tend to see different kinds of injuries, such as concussions in football, and that's something that we've really worked on with our helmet testing and such, to try and reduce those incidents. And we're really proud. If you look at the time that BioCore's been around, we've reduced the incidence of concussion pretty significantly within the NFL, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, making it safer.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about that you just mentioned was the jersey sponsorship with Chelsea in the Premier League. How did that sponsorship come about? And did you find that sponsorship brought a lot of new viewers and audience to your products that you hadn't seen before?
We ended up connecting with some potential investors that connected us with Chelsea, and it ended up being a good relationship. And yes, we were front of the kit sponsor, but we did a lot more with them. We created a product called MVX, where people could actually go within the Chelsea app and watch the games from different angles using our technology. So really, that was a little different from the safety perspective. What we were doing is trying to change the game viewing experience for the viewer, which is something that we're also actively working on. So it's about engagement there, and engaging people in a different way, and being able to basically see the game a little bit differently. Maybe something looks interesting. You can change your view. You can look at things from a different vantage point or different perspective, and make it a lot more fun for the viewer. I mean, traditionally sports, from a fan perspective, can be very passive. You watch, there's not tons of interaction, and that's part of what we want to bring is new ways to interact with the game and see the game, watch the game, maybe predict what's going to happen in the game. I mean, there's possibilities out there. If you look at our core, I mean, a lot of our technology came from the Alliance of American Football, and the very first thing that we were doing was an app there where people could guess what's the next play, and because we can get the data in such quick time, it allows us to create a game where, okay, the next play is going to be a pass less than 5 yards to the right. You could do the same thing in soccer and say, okay, I think in the next 5 minutes there's going to be a corner kick by Chelsea, or one particular player is going to take a shot on goal and it's going to be stopped. I mean, you can do some of those things. We're in the early stages of doing that in some other sports, but I think it's part of just making the game more interactive and the experience more interactive for the fans.
Yeah, and I think that's important for the younger generation. I mean, I've seen it with my own kids. Like it's, they're not really interested in watching a 3 hour football game or a 3 hour baseball game or things like that. So I think making it interactive and showing different angles and getting people, the younger generation, more involved in that is absolutely essential to those leagues continuing to prosper the way that they have in the past. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and if you look at the condensed games that you see out there, I mean, I watch my 16-year-old son and some nephews and how they consume games, and you're absolutely right, they're not watching a 3+ hour game. They've got this condensed YouTube video that just has the big plays and cuts out, you know, in baseball, let's say the 5 pitches before there's actually the ball is put into play, whatever it might be. So
Right.
it's a very, very short game, and I think the attention span has gotten a lot shorter, and I don't know if one is the result of the other. Did the attention span get shorter, so they created shorter games, or did they create shorter games which shorten people's attention span? We can debate that, but,
Yeah.
the fact is that's how things are consumed, and even finding ways to make it, like I said, in a live sense, more interactive, just makes it more fun. If you can keep people in the game, then you really get to see that people will stay in the stadium for longer. Maybe they'll buy that extra soda or extra hot dog or if they're watching, then they'll stay in front of their TV a little bit longer and watch, or in front of their screen, whatever it might be, their tablet, and they'll watch a little bit longer, and they may engage, may see some more ads, which helps drive up revenue. So,
Yeah.
really, it's about keeping people engaged and not flipping channels. That's really what that arm of the business is about.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I know you said you started the legal function at Infinite Athlete. I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. Um, I think you've probably dealt with a lot of intellectual property issues over the years. That's my particular area of expertise. So I wanted to ask you about some of the issues that you faced in terms of patents, trademarks, copyrights, and how you've handled them since you've been there.
Well, we're really working for a sports-related company. You deal with a lot of the same issues. It's just context. I used to say when I was general counsel of a couple of teams that really it's the same job as a GC anywhere else. I just have a cooler office and a whole section of the newspaper that's dedicated to my business. But I deal with the same issues. One of the first things I do when I came on board was we had 9 provisional patents that had been filed during the alliance, uh, during the alliance time, and we had to very quickly convert them to utility patents. So, I mean, that was a sprint to get that done and get everything together and get that off because we had a year from the time we filed the provisional to get the utility in. So, I mean, that was a big one. And then constantly from a patent perspective, looking and saying, okay, we have a regular meeting with our tech people. What have we come up with that's innovative? What have we come up with that we think is monetizable? And then if it's innovative, it's core to our business, and it's monetizable, then we'll sit down with our patent counsel and someone like you, and we'll basically just have a little gathering and we'll talk about it. It's like, and then someone like you'll go and do your thing and tell us, okay, this is something that's already out there, or this is something new. Let's start working on it, and then we work together with you to get the information you need to draft the actual patent application, and then we we work to get it filed. And then after that, it's really defense. What's out there? We do know anyone that's using our patent that shouldn't be, that's infringing. That's obviously a process, and I would say in some places that's even more challenging than actually getting whatever it is, a patent, trademark, copyright. You know what you're doing when you're going in front of the particular body within the government that issues, but you don't know everything in the world that's going on with your IP. So, it's constantly, if you hear something, if you see something, and it's really training your people to make sure that they know, hey, I saw someone, they were using this mark that we use. We follow the same procedure with our trademarks. If we've got an idea, okay, is something else out there? Can we monetize this? Is there value in it? And we'll file for the trademarks. Obviously, inherently, there's copyright protection in what we code, but we do have copyrights for other things. Part of the intellectual property that we received from one of our investors that was able to basically acquire all of the Alliance of American Football intellectual property is all the game footage from all the AAF games. So we actually filed for the copyrights in that with the PTO. So I mean, we have copyright protection over all the game footage, and there was quite a bit. So that's something that we could potentially use. I mean, if someone needs some stock footage for a TV show or a movie or for a commercial. I mean, we've got a whole bank of it that's available.
Yeah, I think the key, what you mentioned before, is it monetizable when you're talking about IP, right? You can literally file on almost anything and you can protect a wide array of trademarks and copyrights. But the question is, how important is it to your business? And in the case of patents, especially with software, and I'm sure you've encountered this, what we talk to clients a lot of the time about is how difficult it has become to get software patents in the last 10 years because of a lot of recent decisions by the courts. And so the question becomes, well, do we even want to get a patent, or would we rather hold some of this information, the back end of this software, as a trade secret? So and also the timeline for getting a patent, especially in that space, can be sometimes 3-4 years. And by the time you get the patent, has the technology passed by at that point? So a lot of decisions that I'm sure you've been faced with over the years.
And that's one of the calls that I have to face and advise my clients on as a general counsel is this something that we want to disclose and put out there as a patent versus a keeping as a trade secret. And it's also one of the other points is if you really look at it, the patents have a lifespan, and at some point it becomes public, and you've disclosed it, and anyone can use that technology at some point. If you keep a trade secret and you protect it well enough, that's yours indefinitely. And so that's one of the balancing points, because it's also very, very hard to keep a trade secret. You've got to have some very, very extraordinary measures at times to keep that out there, and your enforcement's got to be out there, and your people have to know that, look, this is something that's trade secret. You cannot share this,
Right.
because once it's disclosed, then it's out there, and you don't have any protections at that point. So you've got to be really, really careful from that perspective. So, and if you think about some of the classic trade secrets that are out there, the Coke formula, Colonel Sandra's secret recipe, blend of herbs and spices. Those are trade secret, and how those companies go through protecting them. And it's almost they almost market it sometime, the secret vault that Coke has with only so many people have the code to it, which is the
Right.
actual formula for the soft drink. Again, that's trade secret, and they've taken these steps to make sure that nobody knows exactly what it is. Um,
Yeah.
so, and that's, like I said, that's one of the questions that I have to help guide the client to, internally is this something we want to patent, or do we just want to keep this to ourselves and keep it a trade secret? And sometimes it's a really tough call, but
Yeah.
the more you kind of go through it, the more you get to know your business people, the more you sort of know is where they fall at any one time.
We've gotten past the legal part of our discussion. I'm going to bring your colleague, Spencer Higgins, senior counsel at Infinite Athlete, on to talk to do some final fun questions. The first one being for both of you. And Spencer, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Darius.
Absolutely. The first one being, we love, this is a podcast about law and about video games, and we like to ask our guests, starting, Spencer, with you. What are the games that you're playing right now? And what is, if you had to pick one, what is your favorite game of all time?
Ooh. I guess what I'm playing right now is I have a 6-year-old. Mentioned this before we started recording, but I have a 6-year-old and he's gotten very into playing on the Nintendo Switch, and actually playing the Nintendo or Super Nintendo games that you can play through the Switch, right? They have a loaded up of a bunch of games. So he's gotten very into playing old school Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario 2. Like we're talking classic games that I grew up on, right? And so my wife and I both get very excited because it's things we grew up playing. Um, and and so I've been playing a lot of those recently because I've been playing a lot with my son, which has been great. Um, All-time favorite game. I think one that pops to mind that's more of an unknown is Super Mario RPG. It was a very, very old RPG game, a very basic Super Mario-based RPG game. I don't think a lot of people know about it. It'll always hold a special place in my heart because I just love that game. I played it through multiple times. Um, and yeah, and I only know a handful of people who have ever even played it. So it's one of those things where it was never a big blockbuster hit for Nintendo, but for me, it will always hold that kind of special place.
Sounds like you're a big Nintendo guy. I vaguely remember that game. I don't remember playing it, but that's how it is. Sometimes something comes along at a point in your life and it makes an impression on you. And in terms of old school games, as we have teenagers now, one of our kids is in college, and I loved introducing them to old video games. And my son absolutely loves Dig Dug, which thrills me to death. Um, Okay, DC, you're up. How about anything you're playing right now, if you're playing, and maybe your favorite game of all time?
Well, I play on the phone when I got a free minute sometimes, and there's a game called Retro Bowl, which is kind of fun. It's an old school football game, and I've got the uh, the pro edition and the college edition, which is lots of fun. So, um, it's a great game. I've gotten really into it, so I enjoy it very much. As far as all time, I mean, if you want to talk old school, video arcade games, I used to love the old Tron game. I'm probably gonna start dating myself. Someone that also had
Yeah,
one of the original Ataris way back when in the day. Um, but the one that obviously I've got the most memories, and this is right along the lines of what Spencer said, was when my son was younger. He got very into Roblox, and I didn't really know or really get what it was. So I actually opened up an account and started playing it with him, and it became this really fun connection that we would have is, "Hey, let's go play Roblox," and so we would go and play Roblox together. So, it was enjoyable to and I've got a lot of good memories of playing Roblox with my now 16-year-old son, even though he doesn't really play it anymore. And obviously, since he doesn't really, neither do I, but I get a lot of great memories of it. So that's probably got to be one of my favorites, just because the enjoyment I had of playing with my son.
absolutely. Those great memories from games for sure. Um, well, we're at that time for our final question. I'll pose it to both of you, starting with you, DC. What is in store for you, an Infinite Athlete, through the end of 2025 and heading into 2026?
Well, we've always got some big things on the horizon. I think it's continued growth, continuing to move forward. I mean, with the startup, it's always a journey, and it's always a little of a roller coaster. So, I mean, it's managing those challenging moments, and also staying excited and keep the momentum when you've got the good moments. So, I we have a lot that's in the horizon, in the cooker, and I'm really excited about what's to come. But I think, yeah, that's probably on the business side, and personally, it's just continuing to grow. I'm someone that's always looking to grow. I think when we stop learning and stop growing is when we start dying a little bit. So for me, it's
Yeah.
just continuing to advance myself, learning every day. I mean, I didn't come from a technical background, so learning from the technical people that are in the company is always a joy. Obviously, in the sports world, you don't have the level of innovation on the team side that you would have here in a startup. So just sort of being a part of it and helping innovate, and helping support those that are innovating. That's all. Things that I'm looking forward to for the rest of 2025 and even beyond.
Absolutely. All right, Spencer, I'll throw it over to you to close us out.
Yeah, I mean, like DC said, we're working on some bigger things that could be exciting news here in the near future. So looking forward to those. Can't really talk about those openly yet, but um, the future is bright, and we're excited about what's to come. On a more general note, we've made this a heavy emphasis and pivot towards athlete performance, and I think that that's a great move for the company. There's just so much opportunity there. Athletes care more than ever about the start to finish. From training and keeping themselves healthy to how can I be even better, right? I mean, we've seen athletes just take it to another level in recent years, and now with the data access that we have and the technology at our fingertips, these athletes have all the right tools. It needs to be brought to them and brought to teams to really maximize their abilities, right? These people are amazing at what they do. They're really special. Obviously the talent has always been there, but now it's maximizing the talent we've grown in that way. And it's really cool to be on this side from the tech side to be like, I've loved sports my entire life. It's something that I'm passionate about, but to be on the side helping the athletes perform at their highest level is very exciting. And so I think what we're going to be doing here, or what we're currently doing and what we're going to be proceeding with it through the end of the year are really exciting steps in that performance space. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, the level of athletic performance is just it gets better year after year. We were watching the Phillies the other night, and our new closer is throwing at 103.3 miles an hour, and I was saying to my kids, like, that just didn't happen in the 80s. Like, that just did not happen, and it's just
No.
amazing.
And it's a function of a lot of things. If you really look back and talk to some of the old timey ball players, they'll tell you back in the day they used to show up to spring training or training camp to get in shape,
Yeah,
and now they are expected to be, in baseball, a pitcher's expected to be throwing off the mound at 100% the start of camp. There's no getting in shape. So there really isn't as much of an off season for them. So, which presents some very unique challenges from a performance standpoint because they've got to get rest and there's potential of overtraining. But as soon as the season's over, they get a little bit of break and then they're already getting ready for the next year. At least the best ones are. So, that's where we can come in because when the players are not necessarily with the team is when we can really assist. I mean, we can help with the team and do a lot there, but really when they're out on their own and making sure that there's that connection with the team and the team is able to help them and say, hey, here's what we do, here's our philosophies, here's where we are. We can assist with making sure that you're trained the right way and work with the teams on that. Some of them will train in the practice facility. Some of them will do it on their own. So it's a matter of making sure they're training smart, training right, and that way they come into the season, they come into to training camp or spring training, whatever it might be, at the best shape they can be in, ready to compete for a job, ready to start the season and stay healthy. That's what it's about is
yeah.
top performance and injury prevention. Those are really the two key things. And it's everyone in everyone's interest. I mean, a team, every time a player goes down, there's a cost. You've got to pay someone else to be up there. And that player, there's a drop off from a from a talent standpoint. So, keeping that better player on the field is super important. Because obviously the better the players you have on the field, the better chance you have to win, the better chance you have competing for and winning championships.
Absolutely. That's what's important, championships. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. I want to thank our guests, Spencer and DC from Infinite Athlete, for coming on. If you have any questions about any of the topics we raised on today's podcast, drop them into the comments and we'll do our best to answer them without providing any real legal advice, of course. Thanks again, guys, for coming on. Great conversation. And we will see you next time on Lawyers with Game. This is Darius Gambino, host of Lawyers with Game. If you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe. And if you want more video game content, check out some of our linked videos.